Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is November the 5th, 2021. It is a Friday. It is Friday of the 31st week of the year. On the Franciscan calendar, it is the day for us to remember all souls of the Seraphic Order, of the Franciscan Order. So a special All Souls Day to remember in particular all of those friars, all of the sisters, all members of the Third Order, the secular Franciscans who have passed from this life to the next. So we are given a special day in which to honor those, again, whose relationships, whose friendships, whose connections with us continue even after death. So all that tied in together on this day, coming to you again from the cloister walk that connects both the upper school and the lower school here at the Franciscan School. It is another very frigid morning, and so we are trying basically to keep warm in the midst of everything that's going on. So our readings today, continuing with the letter to the Romans. Letter to the Romans will end tomorrow, but since we don't have Mass tomorrow, there's no reflection on Saturdays usually. So, but we've gone through most of the letter to the Romans, and we end basically with Paul being a little bit more kinder and gentler, and being a person who is now again restating why it is that he wrote the letter to the Romans to begin with, and that was to bring the message of Christ, the gospel, to them, because that is what's supposed to happen. So if there was any doubt of whether or not Christianity should move beyond Judaism, Paul basically makes the statement. He makes it to the Romans to say to them that he did this so that they might understand the more about life, the more about what life happens to bring, the more about what life can offer, a life that is lived in Christ, a life that is lived focused upon what is true and what is real and what is authentic about us as human beings. That is all that Paul brings to the Romans. Although he begins again with a little bit too much sinfulness, a little bit too much focusing upon, our burdens and our challenges. But he ends saying that he is doing all of this, and that he even says, it's interesting in this letter, that he may have been a little bit hard on the Romans, but he did it out of love, and he did it because he wanted to make sure that they knew and understood truly what this message that he was bringing to them was all about. That has a very interesting echo, again, in Luke's Gospel today, in which Jesus gives the parable about the cunning servant, who when he is going to lose his job, decides to settle accounts or to create relationships with other people so that he will be able to have some kind of resources or some kind of benefits even after he loses his job, because he was a bad steward, because he was terrible. So he kind of, makes terrible relationships. He makes terrible decisions, even with those who are corrupt decisions. That's what he does. He's a corrupt steward, and so he basically just works out things with other corrupt people so that he can maintain whatever stability he had in his life, even after he loses his job because of his own corruption. And Jesus basically says, that those people of the world are much easier or much more able to deal, with themselves than are the children of light, than are those who are following the gospel, who are trying to live a life that is conscious of the relationship with God. Again, to have that kind of cunningness, we might think is something that is unacceptable or something that would not be necessarily good for us to be as believers in this world. But again, sometimes what faith asks us to be is working in those ways that know that are the fullness of the faith, the fullness of who and what it is that we believe, and who it is that we are as believers in this world, needs to take and possess all that we are, so that we strive to make sure this gospel is planted anywhere and everywhere as possible, not in ways that hurt or harm people, not in ways that only puff ourselves up or bring only something good to ourselves alone, but that bring good and wonder to the world itself. That kind of cunningness, that kind of ability to know, that savviness, that kind of ability to know the world and know what the world needs and what the gospel can offer to satisfy those needs is our mission as believers in this world, is our mission as people of faith in this world, is our mission as people who bring that joy and that peace of God to others. May the Lord give you his peace.